thought we knew how we evolved, how we became human. We were wrong.
Indeed, a massive human skull found in a Chinese well nearly 100 years ago has forced scientists to rethink evolution. The skull, which is 23 centimeters long and more than 15 centimeters wide, is substantially larger than a modern human's and has ample room, at 1,420 milliliters, for a modern human brain. Beneath the thick brow ridge, the face has large square eye sockets, but is delicate despite its size, and this specimen had a huge head, but would not be considered a giant. Almost 90 years ago, Japanese soldiers occupying northern China forced a Chinese man to help build a bridge across the Songhua River in Harbin. While his supervisors weren't looking, he found a treasure, a remarkably complete human skull buried in the riverbank. He wrapped up the heavy cranium and hid it in a well to prevent his Japanese supervisors from finding it. Today, the skull is finally coming out of hiding, and it has a new name, Dragon Man, the newest member of the human family, who lived more than 146,000 years ago. An online video was fueling speculation that the skull belongs to the biblical Nephilim population, described by the Encyclopaedia Britannica as a group of mysterious beings or people of unusually large size and strength, but there is no evidence that the Harbin skull was unusually giant. An article by Smithsonian Magazine noted the skull's unusual size as the largest of all known Homo skulls, but also that the cranium was able to house a brain similar in size to our own. Indeed, China's Harbin cranium shares similarities with modern humans, but no evidence of ancient giants. A paper in National Geographic shared the discovery of the 146,000-year-old Dragon Man skull hidden by the family of a farmer in Harbin, China for over 90 years. Harbin is in the same latitude as Central Europe, so it would have a similar climate as what Neanderthals experienced. A Smithsonian paleoanthropologist said that, although the cranium is large in its facial features, the size of its brain case is well within the range of that of Neanderthals and our species, and there is nothing to indicate that the Harbin cranium represents an individual of unusually huge stature. The paper authors acknowledge that the find could be a Denisovan, and Chris Stringer, a paleoanthropologist at London's Natural History Museum and co-author on the paper, says, "I think it probably is a Denisovan." Researchers believe the skull belonged to a male, about 50 years old, who would have been an impressive physical specimen. His large, wide nose allowed him to breathe huge volumes of air, indicating a high-energy lifestyle, while sheer size would have helped him withstand the brutally cold winters in the region. Homo longi is heavily built, very robust. It is hard to estimate the height, but the massive head should match a height higher than the average of modern humans. Anthropologists also claim the new species belongs to the sister group of Homo sapiens, and thus, an even closer relative of humans than Neanderthals. Other researchers question that idea of a new species and the team's analysis of the human family tree. But they suspect the large skull has an equally exciting identity. They think it may be the long-sought skull of a Denisovan, an elusive human ancestor from Asia known chiefly from DNA. In fact, Homo erectus, the first human to leave Africa and died out on Java, Indonesia, but anthropologist John Hawkes has raised doubts about the identity of the Java fossils. The question I'm asking is, why should we think that these fossils are Homo erectus? It's hard for me to see a population of fossils from Java 120,000 years ago and not assume they were probably Denisovan, who were the descendants of Homo erectus.
The fossil bone Berger has found is not from erectus. It's from his spawn, a supersized human species we call Goliath.
Perhaps some traits of these humans were due to sexual selection. Charles Darwin wrote about human evolution through sexual selection in The Descent of Man in 1882, commenting, "It is well known that with many Hottentot women the posterior part of the body projects in a most wonderful manner." Hottentot is the name once used for the African Khoisan, who are the oldest living modern human population. With no geological context for the skull, geochronologists linked strontium isotopes in sediment, encrusted in its nasal cavities, to a specific layer of sediments around the bridge, which they dated to between 138,000 and 309,000 years ago. Uranium series dating on the bone also gives it a minimum age of 146,000 years. Next, the researchers try to identify the skull. Paleoanthropologists were initially puzzled. The massive skull had a brain comparable in size to that of modern humans. But it couldn't be a member of Homo sapiens because it had larger, almost square eye sockets, thick brow ridges, a wide mouth, and a huge molar. Scientists used computational statistical methods to build and analyze a data set of more than 600 traits from the skull, such as measurements of its length and brow size, as well as the presence or absence of traits such as wisdom teeth. He compared 55 traits from 95 other fossilized skulls, jaws, or teeth from the genus Homo from around the world. The model sorted the fossils into family trees, finding the tree that fit best with the data had 4 main clusters. The new skull nestled in a cluster whose branches included several skulls from China's Middle Pleistocene, a period 789,000 to 130,000 years ago when several lineages of hominins coexisted. Within the cluster of Chinese fossils, the new skull was most closely related to a jawbone from Xiahe Cave on the Tibetan Plateau. Proteins in that jawbone, as well as ancient DNA in the sediments of the cave, strongly suggest it was a Denisovan, a close relative of Neanderthals who lived in Denisova Cave in Siberia off and on from 280,000 to 55,000 years ago and left traces of its DNA in modern people. To date, the only clearly identified Denisovan fossils are a pinky bone, teeth, and a bit of skull bone from Denisova Cave, named after a Russian hermit named Denis. But the enormous molar from the new find fits with the molars from Denisova Cave, which in the native Altai language is called Bear Rock. Maybe we should call these people the Bear Rock people instead of Denisovans, which literally means the people of Denis. But the team has not yet tried to extract ancient DNA or proteins from the skull or molar to test that idea. In the meantime, their analysis showed the cluster of Chinese fossils was closer to early Homo sapiens than to Neanderthals who were alive at the same time. Although other researchers are stunned by the size and completeness of the skull, many are critical of the analysis. They question how the skull was found to be closely related to the Xiahe jawbone, because there are no overlapping traits to compare as the skull has no jawbone. Also, DNA studies reveal modern humans are more closely related to Neanderthals than Denisovans. If the Xiahe jawbone is indeed from a Denisovan, the new skull's closest relative is likely a Neanderthal, not Homo sapiens. What's more, it is widely believed that the Neanderthal belongs to an extinct lineage that is the closest relative of our own species. However, this discovery suggests that the new lineage identified that includes Homo longi may be the actual sister group of Homo sapiens. For now, the paper authors say they do not want to risk destroying the tooth or other bone to get DNA or protein. But other researchers hope that work happens soon. One day, maybe we can finally look into the eye sockets of a Denisovan. The Harbin cranium is a wonderful skull, maybe the best skull of a Denisovan that we'll ever have, even if they were not giants. I wanted to thank the sponsor of this video, Skillshare, the online learning community with thousands of online classes and members who join together to find inspiration and take the next step in their creative journey. Indeed, if you are interested in making a career pivot or up-leveling your skills, Skillshare is a great resource for freelancers and entrepreneurs to help you learn new skills to support your side hustle or launch into a totally new career. I recently completed a course titled Make Great YouTube Thumbnails by Evan from the YouTube channel Polymatter. This course helped me to increase my click-through rate and grow my channel, and I recently hit 20,000 subscribers with the help of this course from Skillshare. So if you have a specific skill you're trying to learn, Skillshare is the perfect place to start. You can choose from photography, illustration, graphic design, freelancing, marketing, and more. You will find classes that will match your goals and interests. Give Skillshare a try, and the first 1,000 people to use my exclusive link in the video description will get a 1-month free trial.